I know. Well, it's Thursday
Right
night
now.
football.
In her bag right now.
That's all.
Shoot, no, you gotta say that again, man. It's Tua thing.
Yeah, I mean, like seemed like Tua got rocked pretty good, and I guess they were zooming in on him clearly being unconscious. Oh, like his hands were like this, I guess, and just fingers like curled, and he got carted off. I got back home like right after it happened, so it's pretty scary. But he definitely was concussed from last game, and he should have never been out there. That's huge no, and that probably had an effect on it for sure.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Some of these medical staffs, I just don't know what they're doing sometimes. Is winning all that matters? You know what I'm saying? Is sacrificing your future though at the cost of winning today, is that worth it? I don't know.
Well, especially their franchise quarterback. I mean, that's who they're building their team around. Like that's just crazy.
I'm a Niner fan, so I wonder that about the coaching staff.
I know. I mean, hey, we got our own problems.
Lance, we only knew you for.
Hey, at least you're only Pistons. You don't got to deal with the Lions too. You get a break in that. At least the last few years for the Pistons, we're about to be real good.
Yeah, I like that. Man.
What do you mean? I got my Tony Snell jersey, my Greg Monroe jersey.
If you weren't there through the dark times, don't celebrate with us in the light.
Yeah, exactly. I might have a Rodney Stuckey one somewhere in there.
Man, that post that the Pistons posted, those new pictures, it was like Cade and Ivy and like Duran just looked. I was like, dang, I'm so pumped for this.
Man, season. The season is right here, and it's like, yo, we got the open practice this Sunday. Doors open up at 10. The practice, I think it started at about 11. But look, before we get into this, we are live. Shout out to everybody. Look. I wish I had all the sound effects, man. I need everybody right now. Whoever's here, whoever's in the chat, whenever you log on, definitely say, what up, Sean? Or put Sean Murphy, whatever you want to do from half court, just something. Shout out to the other co-hosts of this thing, man. My co-general of the table talk, Sean Murphy. Brother, we love you, man. Deuce, one of our Table Talk crew members. I know he's not feeling the best right now. A little bit under the weather. I know it feels like everybody's just getting it out their system right before the season starts. So, you know what? Deuce, man, definitely got you and the family in prayer. Who else, man? Carl, he's on call tonight. He said he might hop on. Carl just... What is he? Just attorney?
Is he an on-call firefighter?
And just everything extraordinaire. I'm doing videos. I'm doing everything.
Wow.
Everything. Yeah. I like it, man. I like it. Our team, as the season approaches, I know, Steve, we were talking about this a little bit, man. I love it, man. The content is about to take a serious, uptick. If you guys have noticed, there's a few more videos on the stream, on the channel this week. And we do got a couple more things coming, Steve. We're going to get you integrated as well. More, we talked about it with some of the writing. And I've been thinking, man, it's going to be a cool segment we're going to have to do for the draft. Keep people updated on the prospects all year long, all season long.
Yeah. Well, because a lot of even just having even more casual fans be aware of these things, I think will be like huge. So, and producing that good content all the time. So.
Definitely. But look, no secret, man. Media day, training camp, all that started this week. We got the first preseason game on Tuesday. Who's ready to see the Pistons play actual basketball against another opponent? Like, y'all got two hands up.
No, what do you think?
Yeah, gotta get one of those.
Joe Dumars trying to order some tickets.
yeah, they're putting him on a hold though. So
no, you gotta get that Sweetwater wings though. We don't care.
Oh man.
We don't care.
But look, check this out. So we talked about this all summer. We talked about, are we underestimating this team? It seems like there's a little bit more to this team than we're making it out to be. We continue to sit here and say, is Cade the star that can really push this team over? you know what I'm saying? They wound up going out and drafting Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, Sadiq Bey took a huge step forward. Hey, my little man waving at me. You know what I'm saying? We got Sadiq taking supposedly coming in the season to take a huge step forward. You know what I mean? The whole notion here for me was I feel like this team is poised to take a step forward. But the sensible thing is that there seems to be like another year or two in between. But they won't stop talking about the playoffs. And by that, I mean the players. They won't. Jaden Ivey said, what? Bro, I'm only trying to make the playoffs. That's the only thing on my mind. I don't have nothing but winning on my mind. You know what I mean? Like Cade Cunningham, we're only trying to win. Sadiq Bey, we're trying to win. There was talk from the coach of, listen, we're going to be one of the teams clawing with Orlando for that play-in spot. So their goal, I don't know if it's their goal or their expectation, but to me, it sounded like they expect to be a playoff team. That's what they expect. Hey, what up, though, Carl? Yeah, we got some people.
Well, and I think that's like what's it was nice to see is that we're all thinking, okay, like, rebuild, figure things out. But, no player wants to tank. That's just the facts. These guys want to win. These guys are hungry. They're young. They're ready to like just, take things over. And I really think that a lot of people are underestimating. I'm not trying to get, drinking too much Kool-Aid here. I get enough of that with the Lions. But it's going to be exciting. I think I'm way more excited now even than I was when the draft happened. It's all coming together and ready.
Yeah, and it's not just excitement for basketball; it's excitement for what's about to happen. For real, Steve, bro. Yeah, so, I need your input. I need you.
So I've been like, I think it's still another year in progress. Like they talked about ground zero, both Troy Weaver and Coach Casey. They talk about ground zero, which I think like on the front office side, they probably think that. But positive side, Cade, Ivy, Beef Stew, they're all wired to win. They do not care about stats. Cade Cunningham, we saw that. If he cared about something other than stats, he would have not gone to Oklahoma State and played the way he did to get all those things in there, to pay attention to detail, to carry a team, to beat that guy. Yeah. Jaden Ivey is son of Niele Ivey, who is the head coach at the University of Notre Dame. Again, the way you see him play, the way you saw him transform his game from year one to year two led to a lot more wins, put the team not solely on his back, but definitely for Purdue. And then Sadiq, Villanova guy. If you follow Villanova under Jay Wright, those guys are all about detail and winning. Like, I want to find my role. I want to contribute to winning. That's all they care about. That's why so many of them work out in the NBA is because he gets them. Coach Jay Wright got them in that system to buy in, to prep you for the league. It's just as good as Kentucky and Coach Cal, in my opinion. And then Beef Stew as well. I mean, we've seen that already. Beef Stew, we've seen already. He's definitely on he's got what I like to call the Giannis gene, which is like if you light yourself on fire and run buck naked through that wall, you're going to be a better basketball player. He would do it, right? He's like Giannis. That's what I call the Giannis gene. He does not care what he looks like. He doesn't care how pretty it is. He just wants to get better.
Wholesome.
Steve, we need more of those analogies. I love it. I love it. Hey, what up? What up, Mr. Wright? Hey, we got Bashir in the comments as well. Y'all look, man, we got some of the regulars here. But look, Rod had something to say as well. When we were on the Woodward Pistons podcast, we were talking about it. Are the Pistons a play-in team because of what they were stating? Now, Troy Weaver, to be fair, and Coach Casey in the press conferences, they both stated, we believe that we're entering what's considered the we said this on other pods as well, the competing phase. A phase that the Memphis Grizzlies were in. So he's likening our restoration, our rebuild, and where we are in the phase. If you want to know it, a little bit more without the flowery words like restoration, he's saying look to the Memphis Grizzlies if you want to know where we are and what to expect from our squad. I don't know if he means right in the beginning when they got Ja Morant, or if he's saying kind of where they've been over the last couple of years, where they've been a tough team, a tough out, and even made the playoffs. He says now that the Memphis Grizzlies are entering what's called the contending phase. That's a phase that I believe a lot of us think the Pistons will be at in about 3 years, 4 years, maybe. One of those teams that every year you're looking at them saying, yo, they should be competing for a top 5 spot in the playoffs. But right now, the coach and the general manager of the team both believe that the Pistons are entering what's called the competing phase. They believe that they should be competing every night. They don't believe that there should be a lot of blowouts. You look at the second half of the season post All-Star break, and you see the Pistons didn't get blown out a lot. What you see from the Pistons in that post All-Star break was Cade Cunningham take a serious step forward. The team's chemistry and health took a serious step forward. Players like Killian Hayes and Hamid Diallo took some steps forward, carried the teams from a perimeter standpoint when Cade and some other guys were out. Specifically that San Antonio game in the second half of the season where Hamid Diallo and a band of G Leaguers went out there and beat the San Antonio Spurs. So, when you look at this squad, they say, yeah, they mentioned it. And we've talked about this post All-Star game sample size a lot on here. Lexi, you've been on here since the beginning. This has been something we've talked about a lot. Like, yo, we're missing something here. They mentioned it. They said, Rodney McGruder and a couple other players and the coach, hey, you saw how we were, post All-Star. I believe Isaiah Stewart said it as well. And they keep saying, so why can't we be there? And we believe it got better this year. Steve, we talked about, before we went live, the fact that they've added Bojan Bogdanovic. Yeah, got Carl in here. Carl! What up, though?
What up, though?
we talked about the fact that they added Bojan. We talked about the fact that they drafted Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren. We're talking about the fact that they got that Knicks trio, which I believe that there's a little bit more to the surface there. Should we be more on the hype train of what the players are saying, where they're saying playoffs? This is where it's at for us, or are your expectations still a little tempered? And Carl, since you first in here, brother, last in here, we want your answer out first, right? What are you thinking, man? Play-in, playoffs. What is this team to you? Have you changed your expectations with what's happened in between draft and since they've signed Bojan?
I have. So the signing of Bojan kind of tipped me over the edge. I'm thinking they're going to push for the playoffs.
Kool-Aid.
Chuck that Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I'm sipping Kool-Aid too.
Let's go.
I think these guys, along with the addition of Bojan, I think the internal development will be enough to get them to at least be competing for that top 10, that 10th spot. That's what I think. But.
Dope. Steve, man, what you thinking, brother?
So to carry that Memphis Grizzlies analogy further, the first year they got Ja Morant, they were 34 and 38, or 39, excuse me, 34 and 39, ninth seed in the West. This is before the play-in, so theoretically they would have been a play-in team as well. Second, they were 38. They won 38 games, and they were a playoff team. And then last year they won 56 games. So I think that 34 win is like a higher end of where the Pistons would be at too as well, because that would the first year of Ja Morant. He did have Jaren Jackson Jr. there. Jay Crowder was there. Kyle Anderson. I think DeAnthony Melton was there. That was his second year as well. They had Jonas Valanciunas. So that's just the thing. I think they had a little bit more veteran of a team, rookie, which I think, again, Jay and I will get to the free throw line, but rookie guards just aren't good for winning. That's just how it is, So I think that's going to be something that will keep them 20 to 30 wins too, but 34 and 9 seed, Cade could just, do that post All-Star break for a whole year.
Yeah.
They're right at the 9 seed.
Yeah. And Lexi, after your take, I'm going to get you guys into the East standings from last year. I want to kind of rehash a little bit about the Cavs, and I'm going to talk about the Pistons outlook, see if that changes anything for you all. But what's your take on this, man? Play-in, playoffs, hard out, compete every night. What are you thinking?
I mean, they're going to compete every night. I think that's like for sure. Like they are, like I said, earlier, they're young and hungry. They're ready to do this. And, hearing them from media day and all this has just only made me want to chug the Kool-Aid even more. I'm at dangerous levels again, but
especially after watching Carl's video today.
Oh my gosh. Every video, man, it gets me hype. I love it.
Appreciate it.
But they could definitely be a play-in team, but it sucks because the East is just such a gauntlet. And so it's like, yeah, could we get there? Absolutely. But then it's like treacherous, like, from there on. And it just sucks because everyone in the East is so good this year. So that's why it's like, I have some expectations, but I'm not kind of being unrealistic in what can happen.
Yeah. Casey said it too. He was like, "Look, this is the toughest East has been in my time here."
Of course, naturally,
Like,
right?
bro, didn't he coach the Raptors while LeBron was here? Think about it. LeBron cost him a championship, and he's still saying this is the toughest the East has been in his time here. Twice, right? Think about that, man. But he still came back and said, "But we're gonna compete every night." He still came back and said, "We're young, but that's not an excuse."
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This team, these people are talking a little bit different than they did last year. And that's why I wanted to be able to bring this up, on the Woodward Pistons podcast. Rod we were talking about it, and something interesting he said here. The season, and he put this on Twitter as well. The season for the Pistons isn't about expectation; it's about anticipation. They may not make the play-in or playoff, but it will be interesting to see where they end up, both at the deadline and at the end of the season. And then he also quoted that and stated, "Say what you want, but I can't rattle off 5 teams that the Pistons will be better than in the East. Maybe the Pacers and Magic, but after that, he says it's a crapshoot. Maybe the Wizards, maybe the Hornets or Knicks, and he put a surprising team in there, or the Hawks. But that's starting to ask a lot. And that's where it starts to get like, sheesh. Because you look at last year, your 10th seed team won 43 games. The next team out, which is the New York Knicks, won 37 games. Most of us had the Pistons at best winning like 36 games. At best. And the East has only taken a step forward. That jump that the Cavs made last year, that whole, hey, we're just going to go in and win 20 games. Do you think that last year Cavs team does the same thing this season? Like, the East is tougher. Not that they don't take a step forward, but I don't see them coming in and just absolutely going out there and making the strides they made last year, this season coming up. And so, yeah, it makes me have to, though I'm excited for the moves, I don't even know if I am tempering my expectation.
Yeah, shout out to Kyle too. You're right about the draft position.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even know if I'm out here trying to like temper my expectation, or if I've never seen this before. Have we ever seen a Pistons roster like this before, with this much young talent, high-level young talent, and then the GM just goes and flips a trade for a starter, bro?
Yeah.
That could literally be coming off the bench for us in Bojan.
So excited.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what to make of it. Like, my mind is sitting here saying, we're supposed to state that they need another year or two.
Mm-hmm.
And then all these guys just are like, nah, that's not how we feel. That's not how we feel at all.
Give me that mentality all day, like every time.
All right, look, y'all gonna have to help me out with this. If the Pistons were to make this play-in, how does it happen?
I think you started on it with Atlanta having to be bad. Happen. I mean, that 2-guard lineup could just implode. Trae Young hasn't exactly been the best at sharing. That would probably have to be up there. Orlando's gonna suck. I mean, there's no way around it, right? The Hornets definitely have less firepower, and like one of their main guys, Gordon Hayward, doesn't have a great health record because you're not moving the top 4 of Philly, Miami,
Boston,
Brooklyn, and Milwaukee, and I'll throw Brooklyn there. If KD's upright, I mean, they can still be top 4, so that's out of the question there. Looking Toronto, the Knicks, Atlanta, Indiana, Cleveland, Boston. I guess you could throw Boston in top 4 with everything they've gone through. I could see them like slipping out of it, not completely out of it, but still there. I mean, that's, like you said, that's a tall order to get through. I think the Knicks, they could probably get better then for sure. Toronto, probably not. Again, Atlanta, Indiana, yeah. So I think like getting in that 8 isn't out of the question, but Atlanta really would be the one that have to like implode that way anyway. They didn't get the Donovan Mitchell trade happening. Who knows what Jalen Brunson's going to look like as like primary guy. And then Indiana's like, Rick Carlisle's a good coach, but like Halliburton's their best guy, right? And then who's their number 2 scorer? I don't really know. Like they probably kill to have somebody like Sadiq Bey. That's all I gotta say.
Right.
They're gonna give us Halliburton and a lot more. Like seriously, like they could
Can't
definitely
really say
use
no.
him. They could definitely use him, but sheesh. Is there any way that you see this happening, Carl? You had a lot more enthusiasm with it, man. I don't know if you have the standings pulled up in front of you from last year, but how do you see the Pistons making this plan, man? Seriously, whether it's internal, because Troy Weaver did talk about that, and Coach Casey, they said that they are going to the symbolism of picking up those 4 options of Troy Weaver's first draft class, the draft class that has some questions about what are they doing with their future, and Cade was because of, he said, we're going to depend on our internal growth. It's about these guys taking the step forward and being better. We haven't even talked about what this team looks like if Sadiq Bey takes a marginal step forward along with these other guys. If these guys each take marginal steps forward, this team has to be, to me, like my mind just says it has to be tremendously better than last year. These aren't guys taking steps forward. These are like top level draft picks or guys who proved they should have been top level draft picks, all on the same team.
Right.
Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham. I know for Jaden, this is his first year, but these guys are on the same squad. Like, I don't know, man. Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart. Am I the only one who's just sitting here? Am I legitimately like overvaluing these guys? And this is why I kind of take it and I kind of temper it from that. Like maybe I'm just putting a little bit too much into what I believe these players can be. But with what I believe Troy is, with what I believe Cade Cunningham is, with what I see in Sadiq Bey, I mean, you got even Killian Hayes up on the stage now talking about, hey, you know, what are you trying to bring first? You know, I'm trying to be a defensive leader. What?
Like that defense is what he's lacked, though. So you get that, and who knows?
I hit up Jeff. I was like, Jeff, Killian didn't say playmaking. He didn't say 3-point shooting. He said, I'm trying to be that defensive voice. I'm trying to be that defensive leader. I said, bro, this man chose defense first. Jeff looked at me and said, yo, he's actually talking about trying to be a leader. Like these guys are just talking a little bit different. I'm just like, ooh. You know, Carl, talk to me, brother.
So that's the thing is the internal. That's my thing is internal development. If these guys hit the ground running from where they ended up ending the year last year, I think it's very possible. I mean, the only thing is I know Jeremy Grant's gone and Jaden Ivey's added to the team. Bojan's added to the team. The lack thereof, I guess, continuity would be the lack thereof is probably the only thing in terms of like getting used to playing with each other and learning each other. That might be the only thing. But other than that, like I said, I think the guys will everybody will take big steps forward. Mm-hmm. It's a matter of, who's going to take the biggest step. Hopefully everyone. Yeah. Hopefully it's Cade. But I think that's really how it would be done as internal development, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And obviously you have to have help maybe from injuries to other teams. You're going to have injuries to other teams. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it's not your own, obviously. Right. We haven't had the best luck with injuries, but
yeah, I see our favorite troll out here. And yeah, Sean said something funny too. He was like, the most hype day, the most, the day where they're gonna say and everything you want to hear is gonna be media day. But the unique thing about this was they weren't just saying cliches. They were saying what Troy Weaver and Coach Casey were saying, which indicates they're listening to their coach as young players. The way they talk, the way they carry themselves, each answer, it didn't matter. You couldn't trip them up. So it's like, you know what? Even though they're going to give you the PC answer, you at least want to know that these guys aren't just going out there flying off the cuff doing their own thing. You start to get a sense that there's a program here, which is what the Spurs developed and had for a long time. Those guys talked the same way their coach talked. What was the identifying marker to go on to work Pistons is the fact that they talked the way their coach talked, including the fact that they coined a phrase, playing the right way. Yeah. They were listening to their coach. So it's like, yeah, I'm getting hyped because they're talking. I definitely am. I'm getting hyped because of what they're saying. As somebody who got to play D2 ball, it's like, yeah, you know the importance of that, man. When you hear these guys actually going out here and saying, you know what, I'm working on trying to be better internally, because each of those guys have that drive to be better just themselves, which is some Rod Beard is detailed, and some of these other beat reporters are detailing and such. And I've gotten the privilege to be able to see to some degrees. And then the development staff, the trainers and all this, these guys are putting in work as well to make sure these guys can take the next steps forward. And they're all working together. Rather than guys just kind of like in the past, what development plan was really in place during Drummond's time as a Piston for really any of the rookies? What development plan and staff did Brandon Knight have? What if Brandon Knight was drafted into Killian Hayes' situation? Is Brandon Knight's talent? Brandon Knight was a pit bull, man, but he didn't have anything, bro. He was drafted into a point guard killing blender machine. That's what he was drafted into. How many big men was on his squad, bro, starting when he was drafted here? You know, like I don't know, man. Yeah, so I'm gonna get excited. I'm gonna get excited when these guys are actually in a situation that breeds a little bit more confidence, that shows that they know what they're doing, that shows that these guys are putting the right team together. You got this squad saying, listen, I'm willing to play whatever they think best. And it's not because they're trying to acquiesce or they're trying to shy away, but it's because if these guys get beat out of a position, it's because the next guy was just that much better, but they pushed them though. They pushed them. That's the sense that I'm getting from them. I'm never going to play anybody. Now, do they got to go out there and prove that? They do. They do. And the season is almost here. The season is right around the corner. We're going to get our first glimpse of these guys in preseason. Preseason don't really matter. We get that. We're going to get a glimpse. You're going to see if these guys have been working. You're going to see what they've been working on. I know people are anxious to see Killian Hayes get out there. You know, so yeah, you talk about it. And when they state that this is a goal of ours, this is an expectation of ours, we got to talk about that. We do. We got to ask ourselves, what have we missed here? The biggest thing I don't think any of us know how to wait is, and y'all in the comments put it in, what is Bojan Bogdanovic going to do for this team? How does he change this team? How does he affect this team? How does he improve three-point shooting? This is question 2. How does that affect this team? The fact that this squad was effectively 500 in games with Cade post All-Star break, where he was healthy, where they weren't like yanking him to try and tank at the end of the season, just about 500. That stuff got to be rectified. And now you're adding 2 lottery picks and a starter from a playoff team. I don't know. I'm drinking all that Kool-Aid, man, but douse me in it.
I'm with you, man.
Yeah, I will say too, like from you're saying, Alan, I don't think so. I think for so long, like people have just clowned on Detroit too, and now we do recognize there are legit guys. Cade being at the top of it, right? With people still kind of downgrading him, but he gets the top 35 rating now, and people are starting to kind of come around a little bit on that. But I mean, I think of Sadiq now, and people still kind of clown on him. I saw this YouTube video over the summer, and the thesis of it was basically like the NBA is easier because of the 3-point line, and like even a quote unquote role player or lesser guy can score a lot of points. And get this thing. And of course, it was Sadiq Bey, and they talk about his like 51-point game, which is just ridiculous. And it's like, okay, yeah, I get what you're trying to say, but can you tell me how many other guys in NBA history have scored 50 points? I bet a lot of those guys were probably multiple-time All-Stars and not just quote-unquote role players. So I think especially that's what unites a lot of us here is just like, we don't underestimate this talent. We recognize this is different. Why do you think they're talking about Memphis Grizzly teams? Why do you think I bring up the Russ and KD City teams? Because that's the kind of talent that is here now. We have that KD. Maybe we have that Russ. We definitely have somebody who I think is much better than John Morant in Cade Cunningham. And we have a lot better guys.
Oh, Steve, say that one more time for me, brother.
Oh, I'll say it like
this is the Kool-Aid test tonight.
Cade is better than John Morant, and he will always be better than John Morant. Yeah, I mean, I'm
here for it, brother.
Yeah, because Cade actually plays defense for one, but we'll get into that probably as time goes on.
It's a great addition to the team, Steve.
Yeah, I don't think we can underestimate the talent, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. And that's That's the thing. Like I look at some of these other squads. You know, you got Isaiah Stewart out here talking about, you know, he's looking up to and has been looking at film of Al Horford. Sheesh.
Yeah, if I can jump in one more thing, like when I saw that, I'm like, okay, I'm not waffling on Isaiah Stewart anymore because that's the exact one that we've been talking about, right? Of like, that's who she should be after because it works. He doesn't need to be a pick and roll threat. He doesn't need to like try and turn into a lob threat or whatever. That's what he needs to be because Al Horford made a lot of money, you know, switching on guys, working on that jump shot, doing good post-up moves. Yeah, I'm fully in on Isaiah Stewart now after hearing him talk about that.
Bro, when he stated that, and we'll get there. I want to touch on this on the screen, but when he stated that, man, my ears perked up instantly because it was just like, that's it. I mean, I know Al Horford is just an inch taller, but his height, his measurables were something that was always supposed to be a knock against him, but it never was. And the lack where there's a lack of height, like just an inch difference, Stu is an athletic beast. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but what Chuck is intimating down here as it relates to, and I assume Bojan Bogdanovic, is that he could be potentially trade bait. We know that Trader Troy, you know, Grim Reaver, you know, Troy Reaper. It's a lot of names out there now, man. He's proven himself to be all of them too. Yeah, it could be a situation where it could be where he could be trade bait, but that's what Troy does. That's exactly what he does. He's given himself every single option. If he wants to keep him, he can keep him. If he wants to trade him, he can trade him. What did he do with Jeremy Grant? Signed him for something that everybody said was overvalued. Thank you for Jalen Duren and the 3 Knicks players and cap space. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I believe he's going to be here for the season. I believe that Troy is going to explore what he could potentially get. But if it's not for like a first-round draft pick, and I said this last year with Jeremy Grant, if it's not for 2 first-round picks or a first-round draft pick in which he knows exactly what it's going to be, I don't see Bojan getting traded. I just don't. I don't know necessarily what it would be. Like, what are we bolstering our playoff run? I just, you know what I mean? I don't see what it would be. And the way that Bojan is talking, I feel like he kind of wants to find a way to be here even beyond this year in some capacity. Mm-hmm. But we'll see. We'll see, man. I didn't know if you guys had anything to say at least on this Bojan stuff. What you think he's going to be trade deadline and beyond, and you know what the fit will be.
For me, I mean, yeah. Initially, when I heard the trade, I thought, yeah, this is probably trade bait at the deadline. But then I thought more about it, and it depends on if he performs well early on for the team. I can see him being here, not just the end of this year, but even years beyond. I mean, he adds shooting or I guess potential shooting that we just haven't seen.
Yeah.
At least in terms of consistency. So that's just something that we haven't seen. And I think we value that. I think Troy might value that more than what a lot of us think. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. What you thinking, Lexi?
Yeah, I was excited only because he's a great 3-point shooter, and I know that Ivy can be that and stuff, but like that's been something that we were lacking in a little bit. So I just feel like he's a good fit for the squad. But whatever Troy ends up doing is going to be what it is, because I have my full trust in him. But I think he wants to keep him. I think that he's having him be a piece of this all. So
I like it. Steve, man, what are you thinking, brother? Do you think that this is do you believe that Troy is leaning more towards, hey, what's the best way we can kind of keep this sharpshooter here? It's not like he's getting younger. He's a player that I'm sure is looking for a position in a team that's probably on an uptick, so he doesn't have to have as much responsibility on him. Who knows? But what are your thoughts on it, brother?
So after consulting with Joe here and him saying, let's channel some trader, I think he might be trying to pilfer the Lakers. If I had to guess of one team, of like, hey, let's try and get somebody I know they were targeting. Because wasn't it them too? They were talking about they wanted one of their picks in a previous trade before. Then this would make a lot of sense, right? That team sucks. That team has no 3-point shooting pretty much. LeBron needs 3-point shooters. Like, why not just steal the sky from out under them. You know, Danny Ainge wants to hurt the Lakers.
Yeah, smile like the Kool-Aid man, bro. Because it's smart, dog. Yes. Hey, he's working on his PhD too, y'all. Like, it's just smart. It's like, you know what? Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a whole lot of sense, bro. He can fleece the Lakers. And it seems like he's been trying to get them for some time. Like they've come up every year. Troy has been the GM here. There's been trade rumors. And now it's like he's probably like, I got you now, Genie. I got you now. Because that makes a lot of sense. That draft pick, man. And Troy has valued draft picks, those first-round draft picks. Since he's been here, he's had 2 drafts now where he's drafted multiple players in the first round. The first one, he drafted Killian 7th. He drafted Isaiah Stewart, 16th, and Sadiq Bey was at 19th. Yeah. And then he came back this year. Obviously, Cade Cunningham is like drafting 2 lottery picks in and of itself. You know, but then he comes back this year and he gets, I'm sorry, let me go back, man, because they picked up Isaiah Livers too in that Cade Cunningham draft.
Yeah.
That's huge. In the second round. Troy is stupid. And then you go to the next year and he finds a way to turn. He gets Jaden Ivey. And then I remember 2 days before the draft, Pistons Twitter was burning itself down because he traded Jeremy Grant for effectively nothing. And then the next day was like, here's a trade, here's another lottery pick, bada bing, bada boom. And everyone was like,
yeah.
Like, what happened?
I know, I was like, what?
Yeah. But hey, shout out to CJB. He said he stays. Get Bojan some buffs. We got to get him buffed up. Man.
I gotta get some buffs. Shit.
We gotta get everybody some buffs, man.
It's true.
Yeah. We were definitely, man. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting for sure. It's gonna be interesting, but
I love that everyone asks, like, what kind of dirt does he got in everybody? Because like some of the trades are just, you know, what? Like, you sure you made the right decision?
It's definitely one-sided.
Yo, has there been
multiple, not just one, all of them recently? It's just been weird.
Like, no, for real, anybody tell us, has there been any trade that you felt like Troy Weaver as a Piston GM has lost? Or got fleeced?
Because he ultimately wins them somehow down the line too. Like this, and even if initially it doesn't make sense, I mean, you know, there's something else coming. Like, so even if you think he's gonna lose, like, you know, he's not gonna lose. Like when it's all said and done, like there's just no losing with his trades.
Yeah, sheesh, man. I'm still looking at this Eastern Conference and trying to find a way. But sheesh, I wanted to talk about X factors. I wanted to talk about some Pistons X factors, and I know Beef Stew, he's the one that's starting to really, really make me think, because for a minute there, I was like, you know what? I don't know if we have Jalen Duren's front court mate on the roster yet, but I thought if it's going to be one, it's going to be Beef Stew. It's going to be him. It has to be him. Just with the trajectory, with what we know he could bring, and if he could just take that next step forward, or if the opportunities present themselves, because right now we didn't know if his lack of rebounds and his lack of scoring was more on his skill set or more on a lack of opportunities, because we realized there were some scenarios that presented themselves last year where Beef Stew didn't really have as many opportunities as we thought he should have to go out there and get those double doubles. So he kept falling 10 points, 9 rebounds, 10 rebounds, 8 points. And we looked at the games, we're like, okay. But this is the year that Rod said he should absolutely have the opportunity to go out there and prove what he is. He's going to have the time to go out there. Double-double shouldn't be a thing. Him not getting double-double shouldn't be a thing. That should be a thing of the past. And he's believing that he's going to go out there and take full advantage of it. When you see the little flashes, when you see how comfortable he is, there's not one video that you see of Stu where he looks uncomfortable shooting a three, dating back to when he was shooting them last season. I haven't found one. He looks comfortable. The shot looks good. I looked at his 3-point shooting during that little stretch, and some of those numbers were high. I'm like, why is he shooting 40% during certain clips? You know, from 3. The volume went up. Even though it started slow, his volume went up a little bit during a certain stretch towards the end of last season. And then he came out this season, has continued to show it. Beef Stew is somebody who I believe can be a certain type of X factor. If all things hold even, I believe he's the one that can actually push the Pistons ahead because what I believe it does to their defense. I believe it can anchor them defensively to have a big that can switch everywhere and then come down and be a stretch four that can also go down into the paint and you give you a little bit of that Horford work. Beef Stew is the player to me that presents the biggest upside for the Pistons if it pans out of everybody else. I believe Jalen Duren is going to be able to provide a little bit of something. I believe Jaden Ivey uh, is going to provide something, but like you stated, there's something about rookie guards. Isaiah Stewart is our third year big man. He's our third year big man. I'm starting to kind of change my tune on what I feel about Isaiah Stewart just a little bit in terms of is he that future starter? I'm hoping he is. I'm hoping he is. And with what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, I believe he's going to prove it. I believe this year he and Sadiq Bey are going to prove some things in year 3. I'm hoping Killian does too. He sounds like a man on a mission. But that's my X factor this year, man. It's Isaiah Stewart. Before I thought it was Marvin Bagley, but I think it's Isaiah Stewart. I'm riding with that for the season. I believe he's going to show out this year. Steve, man, who is your X factor? And I want to get people's comments on Isaiah Stewart too, but definitely, man, give me your X factor first.
It's Hamidou Diallo. He's kind of the lost man in the shuffle, and they're lacking an athletic wing. He can be that theoretically, but again, we haven't seen him show consistent shooting or defense. And I think it just would have to be really in defense because shooting, I think they want to go elsewhere anyway. Not that to say Hamidou shouldn't, be at least a good corner 3-point shooter or something like that. But like Ivy's going to get rubbed there. They just brought in Bojan, so obviously they want him to be one of the main ones. Sadiq's going to get up his shot. Alec Burks, whenever he gets back, he's going to be getting up his shots. Corey Joseph, although not like a volume, going to get his time in. There's another guy I'm forgetting. Livers, of course, my guy, go blue. He's going to get his shine and his rub in there. If nothing else, just as a 3-point shooter. But again, what they're missing is an athletic wing defender because that's what's going to be the biggest difference between like being able to make a play and push and not. I think because Jeremy Grant was the one who they would put on Giannis on KD. Now, like who's that guy, right? Like if Hamidou could just come in and just do that and do like to above average job, that makes a big difference because then you don't have to free up Sadiq, Cade. They're going to be the ones that we need to do it. Alec Burks has a repaired foot. I don't think you want him to do that. I mean, that's not exactly his specialty either. And then do you want Beef Stew to attempt to do that as well? I don't think so. Again, I think Hamidou Diallo is the biggest X factor, just even if he's just a good defender.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. With Hami, he had a lot of interesting comments at Media Day. Praising the city, praising the music, praising the direction of the team, praising, he's like, y'all, I know I'm not that much older than these guys, but I still feel like, I want to be a good example, a good vet to them. I really like the maturity that he was showing this year. The maturity that was kind of, invading his aura during that press conference, because that was something that I thought was missing last year. He started off the season pouting. He started off the season in Dwayne Casey's doghouse. So to hear him this season, kind of starting off Media Day a little bit different, stating, look, I'm here to play my role. I'm here to do whatever the coaches and the team needs from me because we want to be winners. Hami is a guy that we went through a lot of different breakdowns and reviews and realized, wait, Hamidou Diallo is on the roster. He's a guy who, at his best, proved that he can help this team win. But it's not that I don't know what it is. I don't know what got into him last year, because when he first got traded here, he was good. He was solid. It was a hope. And then to start the season the way he did, it was just like, man, if he gives us anything to have another athletic guard, can you imagine the damage that could be done? And you're right. The one thing Jeff and Rod and we continued to state was that if Hami could just come in, like you stated, Steve, and just be a wrecking ball on defense, just go out there and be a wrecking ball on defense, have those lineups where when you and Killian come in, it's harkening back to Mike James and Lindsey Hunter doing just wreaking havoc on opposing backcourts, because I believe they have the measurables and the athleticism and the speed to do so, and they're bigger than both Mike James and Lindsey Hunter. They're taller, they have longer arms. They've shown an instinct that I think they might not be as quick, but they've shown an instinct that is very similar. Go out there and wreak havoc, man. Make it fun. It was crazy to see the going to work fun on defense. Knowing, like when they're trapping people, looking at them, laughing at the bench, like look at them, we made them turn the ball over. Like that was like fun. Seeing the Pistons when the Nets were celebrating a loss because they broke the 70-point streak. Seeing the Pistons laughing at the Nets right there, like, dog, they're celebrating a loss. It's like that's what I want. That type of defensive mentality from Hami. And if he brings that, he's going to be more than an X factor, way more, because his athleticism on offense deserves to be in the game for that. But if you don't bring that defense and you haven't checked out in the spaced out moments in the game, sheesh, brother. You know what I mean? But he's somebody I got some high hopes for this year too. I really do, man. Lexi, who is your X? Do I have to ask? Who is your X factor?
No, I've actually got a couple. Like, Livers obviously I think is just going to be, huge for this team. But I'm thinking now, especially after like media day, Killian, if he steps up and fills this role, as like this backup point guard, I think that if he can come out this year and do it too, that's going to be huge. And then Duren, if he's going to be NBA ready, and that presence in the paint and that threat of like, just that big man in there like that. If he's ready to do that and ready to step up, that would be huge, I think. So it's like a tie between those three, but Livers is going to be the number one because just a steal in the draft, and just the way he speaks, I know that one of you guys had shared something on Twitter just about how he's just an intelligent when he speaks too, and just really can analyze the game and appreciates just everything. I think, given that second chance he had from that injury a few years back, that he's just really, I don't know, it's humbled him and made him, I think, an overall better player. And we just see it out there now.
Yeah. Isaiah Livers impressed me with media day. Just everything he was saying. I remember I tweeted out something saying, bro, why is Isaiah Livers already a 10-year vet?
Right? He sounded so yeah, he did.
Last year during the press conference when he was introduced with Cade, a couple of reporters released their interviews with him. And I'm like, this dude sounds like he's been in the league for 15 plus years. Like
yeah.
And it's not just that he knows what to say. He's polite. Like he's almost like too perfect of a
you wanted to hate him in college and you couldn't too either because he just was always humble.
Well, I hated him, and I you don't want to hate him, but yeah, you can't because he's so humble, he's so polite, and he's good on the court too. Like there's no better combination.
That's it right there.
Well, he's like gotten better every time he steps on the court. I mean, he's just worked his butt off for it. So
yeah, and his comments at media day, they were just like, yeah, they were like, yo, so why did you play, summer league and all of that? What were you looking to get out of it? He said, I went there to be a leader. I expect to be a leader on the team this year. Just went to summer league to be a leader. I lend my voice, tell these guys what to expect and how we're gonna work, this, that, and the other. It's like, dang, for real? You know what I mean? You went to summer league to practice being a leader. I just don't hear stuff like that, man. Like, guys, I'm going to summer league to practice on my ball handling. I remember one year, I forget which guy it was, but we told him don't dribble with your left hand. Like, and stuff like that. This guy went there to practice being a leader because he said they're going to need me during the season to be that. He said, I just want to be wherever they need me to be. I could play inside. I could shoot the three. I could be cutting to the rim. I could play defense wherever they want me to play defense. These were the things that he was studying. He's like, look, and he kept saying it too. Just look, guys. Y'all know me. I just want to hoop. Like, I just want to play basketball. I just want to help my team win. Put me wherever you want me to go. That's what I bring to the team. It's just like, man, Isaiah Livers.
Yeah, and file him under the guise of like that already come from a winning culture. His freshman year was the year that against Villanova. So he understands being like not the low man on the totem pole, but like what it
Yeah.
takes to be one of the guys that helps to win. And then
Absolutely.
as a senior, he was the guy that, as Lexi
Mhm.
always points out, if he was there, probably in the national title at the very
Ah,
I'd bet my life, man. I'm telling you, that's how
man.
confident I am in it.
He
But
Livers reminds me of a way more talented Michael Curry. Just the mentality that Michael Curry had, the maturity that he had, the leadership that he had. It's like, I know Isaiah Livers is young, but he's an old soul, bro. Do y'all remember Michael Curry? The guy that blocked Tayshaun Prince from starting for a few years there?
Yeah, I was going to say Terry Mills from one Michigan great to the next.
That's another good one. Terry Mills was another guy who, you just kind of he just commanded a respect, man. He just did. He just did. Definitely, man. We're always gonna bring the references, especially during the eras when these boys was competing and winning and such. That was that time when those guys. Yeah, huh?
I was just gonna say, as long as you don't bring up Michael Curry as our coach, that's.
Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna go that far. I wasn't gonna go that far. Yeah, hey, listen, we love everything you did for us during the championship year, Michael Curry. Everything during your coaching career, because we won the championship, we just wiped that out. We just wiped that out, man. We get that out of here, man. Definitely. But yeah, Livers. Sheesh. He's the guy that I can't, out of all the players on the roster, I don't know what we're gonna get. I just feel like it's gonna be great. I absolutely don't know what it is, but the things we saw from him last year, it's like you just know it's gonna be great. But Carl, brother, who is your X factor this season, man? Especially if the Pistons are gonna make any type of push for this play-in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to repeat. I mean, everyone that's been said has been my X factor. I wish I could choose everybody, but I'll choose Marvin Bagley. I'm just really intrigued by that. I mean, there's something there that people saw for him to be a top 5 prospect coming out of college, and he hasn't shown. I don't think he's shown everything that he. I think being on the Kings really messed up a lot of his development, obviously. So I think if he can do better defensively this year, if he can maybe I don't know if he's been working on a shot, like a 3-point shot, but if he can develop that, that'd be a huge game changer, I think. Obviously it'll stretch the floor, it'll make everyone else better. But I guess we could start with defense. If he can step up his defense, I think it'll be a lot more higher usage. It'll just be better for the team for sure if he can step up his defense.
Shout out Nathan, dog. Shout out Nathan. Nathan, I see you in the comments, man. I see you. You follow some of us. Thank you for the support. So it's good to see you in these comments. I noted myself last time when I see you in here, we would shout you out. Thank you for the support, for real. Definitely. But I feel him on that one. Bagley staying healthy goes a long way. But again, you mentioned something interesting there, Carl. He went the Sacramento Kings, that whole situation, it messed him up. And when you go through situations like that and you stop working the way you normally do, it makes you more susceptible to injuries. It makes you more susceptible to being winded and having those injuries that come from being tired or your body not being prepared. There are certain muscle groups you can build up to make some of the injuries less, less propensity to be injured. There's, put less stress on your knees and on your joints. As a big man who he's going to run, he's going to get up and down, he's going to be jumping and such. Being in the right shape matters. And one thing I heard praised about the Pistons at Media Day from some of the players, especially some of the ones that are coming from outside this year, like the Knicks guys, they're like, their training staff, whatever they're doing here now, second to none. Now, that's something that the Pistons used to be able to stake a claim to. And then there were some years where it got shady. They made some changes. Tom Gores and his people, they made a few changes. And I think that I know they tried to rectify and bring some of these guys back, but it matters. And I think that being with the Pistons, having this breath of fresh air, kind of seeing almost like Cade last year. Cade said, "Hey, I had to kind of fill this thing out and see what the season was going to be." I almost feel like Marvin Bagley was doing the same, but now they said we know how to prepare our bodies and our minds to be better for this season ahead. So
that's the thing. When you have someone that says that you haven't had this much fun playing basketball, that can do a lot. That can do a lot.
Yeah, that was wild to hear. He said he went as far as to say, "Hey, we haven't talked to you since the contract. How you feeling?" He was like, "Man, my family is loving it. I'm loving it. We loving it." Like he just started there. It was just like, "Well, I'm happy," and it's just like, "Yo, these are the reasons why we got to have this talk before the games officially get underway." Because all of these guys are sounding different. They're even looking different. They all look like they've not just gained weight, but like kind of chiseled up, Killian's talking about, I'm confident and I'm aggressive. I know my first 2 years wasn't ideal, but I've grown. That's Killian. He's telling us this stuff. Right. It's to be seen. It's to be seen. I still keep my my expectation or my previous kind of thought the same. I think they just missed the play-in, but I'm not going to be surprised if they get there. I want to see a little bit more. I want to see these guys on the court, see if they've meshed, because I believe their start matters, because their second half of the season is grueling. It's one of the tougher ones in the NBA, second half. So if they're not ready, we're not sitting here talking about, hey, they played 500 ball in the second half of the season or post All-Star break. We're not going to be sitting here doing that. So they got to be ready. I believe that having a high IQ player like Cade Cunningham, even though it's his second year, he's not really a second year player. His second year, and Rod said this before, and Jeff said this before too, his second year was the second half of last season. That was his second. He's coming in now. People are saying you're a top 35 NBA player.
Yeah.
I know they got Sadiq. I'm hoping he's looking like, where am I at? They put Keegan Murray on this list. They think Keegan Murray is going to be ranked higher and on this top 100 list by the end of the season, and not Sadiq Bey. I know that these guys just do what you do, Sadiq, but I hope somewhere out there there's this little chip that says right there, I really do, where you're like, there's no way I'm undeniable next year. I want more of 51 points Sadiq Bey. Not that you got to be scoring 51 points, but that determination, that drive, that it's that look that he gets sometimes, man. That's Sadiq Bey. Man, punch these people in the mouth this year. That's what I'm talking about. It's not necessarily about drinking the Kool-Aid. And that's why I at least wanted to make sure people understand, hey, from just looking at it, just trying to be sensible, I believe they fall just short. But from the aspect of me that once these guys go out there and give their all, I believe we got a team full of fighters. I don't think we have any weak dudes. Like my old college coach used to say, I need hearts to pump blood. I don't need no hearts to pump milk. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think we got any guys on this squad whose hearts is pumping milk, man. It's pumping blood. He would always say he would find cities like in the areas that we would be from. And I remember one day he called me. I was like, they would call me Foots, bro, because I was 6'1", but my shoe size was 13. But like, they're like, bro, you should Foots. That's too big. Your name is Foots. And he would be like, I need to know. And I don't know why he thought this was Davidson was a street, but he was like, Foots, are you? Can I go on Davidson with you? Is your heart pumping milk? And it's like, you know what? Nah, coach. This Pistons squad is a bunch of dudes. Even if they will get wrecked, they'll be out there with you. And that's where it's at. That's where the Kool-Aid is. They will run through a brick wall. That's this team. I can't say that about previous teams. Even with guys I liked, I couldn't say that I believe Drummond was ready to run through a brick wall. And that's the difference. We got a squad, dude, that the hope is not built on what we hope will come. The hope is built on what these guys are doing and showing and putting in. And a general manager who knows the players he's drafting. Why? Because he was at their pro-ams when they were in high school. He's at their stuff when they're in college. He's helping them get in. That stuff matters. And that's what has me really drinking the proverbial Kool-Aid, because these guys know what they're doing. Obviously, some of our X factors that we called out, Marvin Bagley, Hamid Diallo, some of these guys, I believe this is the best situation that any of these guys have had. These guys who've been in the league for a while, I believe this is the best basketball situation Hamid has had, Marvin Bagley has had, and Rodney McGruder spoke to that. He spoke to that. Nerlens Noel spoke to. He said, "No, I knew Troy before here. I know where this team is headed. I know where they're going." So and that's just any last words. Definitely was gonna bring this to a close. I thought we were only gonna go for 30 minutes, but man, you could talk Pistons forever.
There's so much excitement to talk about, so it was kind of easy. I was like, "Oh damn, it's almost been an hour." Like,
yeah, it's exciting stuff, man.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just excited. I'm excited to do some like meetups too with everybody like this season.
Yeah.
So
yes,
cool.
yes, a lot of meetups going on. As we get up, I'm gonna make sure everybody gets their shirts as well. And some of these regulars who are in the comments, I'm gonna start reaching out to you all, see if we can get some shirts. And when you're at the games and you see us, we're gonna make sure we bless you guys because it's been awesome. It's been an awesome experience, and we can't wait. We can't wait for the season. But hey, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
I like that.
I like that. Boy, give me the Pistons till Kool-Aid. I like that. But Steve, man, you any last word?
Just shout out Rodney Magruder. Your team is only as good as the last man on the bench, and if Rodney is always pretty damn good. I've been a big fan of his since K-State days, so I think he's kind of like the unsung guy in here. Wayne Ellington was, brought up a lot in Sadiq's first year of them going together to shoot and stuff, but he seems to be veteran.
Yeah, I'm all for that, man. I'm all for. I remember when he was who was that team that was messing with him? Was it the Warriors?
Yeah.
And ever since then, I was just like, and I saw the way the team kind of rallied around him. I saw how kind of stoic he was. I saw how unfazed and unbothered he was. And then I was just like, man, I mess with Rodney Magruder. It just changed. Then him taking the time out, when he's just doing his strolls around Birmingham to talk with the interns, take pictures with these people, tell them I love it here. It's like I like here. They asked him, why did you sign back here? I like it here. Oh, and I like the guys in the team and where they're trying to go. I'm like, shout out Rodney Magruder, man. Definitely.
Yeah, and every time he's been asked, called into games, he's good. So yeah, like I said, you're only as good as the last man on your bench. So
for sure.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. That's a great point. Anything from you guys, Carl? Go Blue Lexi? Or is it time to call
ready
it
for the season? And I'm ready. I'm just ready for the ball to start.
Let's go. Well, hey, again, shout out to our missing members. Sean Murphy, Brody, I love you, man. Deuce, love you and the fam. You guys get better soon. Shout out to our OG member, King. Who else, man? Jeff, everybody, man. The Woodward Sports family. Shout out, man. This was fun. Thank you, everybody that's in the comments. Definitely smash the like button. Definitely go back and look at some of this other content. It's been a big week content-wise, and there's been a lot of coverage of Media Day, training camp, a lot of on-the-ground stuff. I'll be on the lookout for what's coming next week as well. The next time we talk to you all, the Pistons would have played preseason basketball. So, look, it's going to be fun. I can't wait for it. Thank you all for supporting and keep tuning in. And definitely, like I said, everybody in the comments, hey, say what up to Sean for us, man. Tell him, hey, Sean, get better. Can't wait to see you next time. Whatever. I know he can't wait to get back to see Raj. I know he can't wait for that. But definitely, man. Yo, have a good night, everybody. We love y'all, man. Thank you so much.
See ya.